So now we're going to go over the debits and the credits, and we're going to demystify them because I'm sure a lot of you have heard debits and credits before, and now we're going to go over what they are, and it's actually pretty darn simple. So at the end of this lecture, you'll have a pretty good understanding of it. Obviously, by the end of this course, you'll have a very strong understanding of debits and credits. Just to let you know, this is always done on a computer, not generally. It's always done on a computer. This is a graphical or picture representation of it. And so the reason why we present it like this is so you can understand the concept. If you decide to pursue a career in accounting, then what will happen is that you'll enter these things into a computer. But again, you won't be able to do that unless you understand the concepts behind it. So this is what we call a T account because it looks like a T. So hopefully you've again printed out your handout. So this is what we call a T account. So what we're going to write on the top here is we're going to write on the left-hand side what, which again we know means assets. And on the right-hand side, we're going to write who, which is who has claims, which is going to be our liabilities, and our owner's equity. And so hopefully you're writing this down too. So with that being said, on the left-hand side, we're going to write down some types of asset accounts, and we already went over some of them, right? So equipment would be here. Down here, we can write cash, and we're just writing it over, drawing the smaller T accounts. And on the right hand side, we'll write down types of liabilities, which we went over some, notes payable, and then paid in capital. So now you see why I introduced the terminology in the previous lecture. So this is now the second time you've seen it. The more and more you see it, the more and more comfortable you're going to feel with it. So these are what we call debits and credits. And so the debit side is always the left-hand side. So this is going to be the debit side, and the right-hand side will be the credit side, okay? And to increase them, what we need to do is follow the side that it's on. So for assets, to increase them, we debit it because it's on the left-hand side. And to decrease it, we use the credit. And to increase notes payable, for example, since it's on the right-hand side, we use the right hand. So we put a plus sign over here. Paid in capital, increase paid in capital, we use the plus side, which is the credit side, the right-hand side. So again, this is just the concept. It's going to come together very quickly here. So with that being said, please fill this in with me. Debits equals... abbreviation for debit is DR, just in case you ever see that, so you know. And it's always equal to the left side, or the left-hand side, okay? And debits increase assets. Credits is CR, and credits are the right-hand side, or the right side. And credits increase liabilities and owner's equity. And we just went over that above. So again, a debit is abbreviated DR. It's the left-hand side. Debits increase assets. Credit equals CR, which is equal to the right-hand side. And credits increase liabilities and owner's equity. So you can see that. Look again, okay? So assets, equipment, we debit it, which is the left-hand side. It increases it. And liabilities, to increase it, we must credit it, which is the right-hand side. Paid in capital, same thing. Right side, which is a credit, is the way we increase it. Credit equals CR, which is the right-hand side. Credits increase liabilities and owner's equity. So with that being said, let's go through an example together. Background. I put in $10,000 into a checking account and open a brand new business. I then purchased a tractor for $5,000. I paid for the tractor using $5,000 in cash. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the T accounts for this, okay? So we're going to use our formal accounting equation because I think you're used to it now. Assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity. So the first thing that happens is I put $10,000 into a checking account. So that's cash. So let's draw a little T account for cash here and open a brand new business, okay? So what two accounts are affected? First, it's going to be cash, and we know that. The other account is because we own all of it. We own all of this. Who has claim to this cash? We do. Is going to be paid in capital. I'm writing it over to the right because it's part of the owner's equity account. So paid in capital. So what happened is we have $10,000 in cash. So how do we increase cash? Let's go slow and go through this together. We'll still finish in under an hour. To increase an asset, which cash is, we debit it. So we go on to the left-hand side. So cash, $10,000. And then paid in capital, to increase that, we credit it, which is the right-hand side for $10,000. Hopefully you understand that. And now move on to the next part. I then purchased a tractor for $5,000. I paid for the tractor using $5,000 in cash. So that would be equipment. Draw the T account for that. And then we just bought a $5,000 tractor. So hopefully you heard that we will increase this. Heard as in that's what you heard in your head, and which you probably did, and that's probably what you thought, and you're right. That goes up by $5,000. How did we pay for that tractor? We paid for that tractor using cash. So we have to reduce cash. So to reduce it, we have to credit it, which is $5,000 over here. So what that has now is, let's total this and then check our accounting equation. So total cash on hand will be $5,000. So it's $10,000 minus the 5 gives us $5,000. Equipment's $5,000 and paid in capital is $10,000. So now let's see if our accounting equation, there we go. Our accounting equation works. So our assets equals the 5,000 here plus the 5,000 here, which is 10,000, is equal to our liabilities, which is 0, plus our owner's equity, which paid in capital is part of owner's equity, is 10,000. And does 10,000 equal 10,000? The answer is yes. So our accounting equation balances, and it must balance, as we said. And that is our first step in understanding debits and credits. So now you understand debits and credits, and you understand that the left-hand side is always a debit and the right-hand side is always a credit. So with that being said, let that stew in your head for a few minutes, and let's move on to the next lecture.